Hi there, welcome to our next podcast. We have a guest. His name is Colin Ng, and he is the IC for Hillhaven. He's got a very interesting story. He's got a very interesting background. He used to work for Far East organization, and he's been tasked with managing the connection between Huttons and Far East, and they're going to launch this really, really exciting project about Hillhaven. I'm very, very glad to have him in the studio today. And I'm hoping to ask him all about Hillhaven, but also a little bit, about his life and what he thinks, because he's done literally over 20 projects. And that's just the ones that he's IC'd. So we're talking about Qianbei in the industry. He is it. He is, oh my goodness, as far as the new project is concerned, he's the grand poobah of it. So welcome. Thank you, sir.
Hey, hi. Thanks, Charlie. Yes.
Thanks for coming on. Just a little bit about you. So you worked with Far East in the past for a couple of years, right?
Yeah. That was many years back. That was when I first started in the trade, in the real estate trade. So I started in 2004. Yep. So very soon I'll be hitting my 20th year.
Wow. Okay. But you started just out of army, lah.
No, I did 1 year of something else right before I hop onto this trip.
Wow. Okay, so I kind of roughly know how old you are. So army plus 1 year plus 20 years. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. So you obviously are going to be a real estate professional for the longest time, I guess. You love real estate, you like real estate. How do you feel about it after 20 years?
Well, over the past 20 years, I think much of the satisfaction is really about helping buyers on their housing solutions, and some of them of course building their dreams and stuff. Yep. I think for that is one, and of course it's very tight when you get into real estate. It's not easy that you can just step out and change in a different kind of trade. Yeah. So yeah, that's yeah.
It's something that you've obviously enjoyed, and that's why you stuck with it for 20 years. It's not easy to be in a trade for 20 years. If I'm in a trade for 2 years, I kind of get bored. I need to do something else. So kudos to you. How have you seen over the last 20 years, Far East, how has it changed? And has it become a much more modern company? I know it's gone back 40, 50 years. Ng Teng Fong started this in, I don't even know when, 60s, 70s?
Yeah, in the 60s, yeah, correct.
And so the company is at least 50 over years old. So in the last 20 years, which you probably had a front row seat as far as the number of projects they've been involved, how has that changed? Has the quality gone up? Has the structure gone up? Has the management also been a little bit different? I know a lot of the malls that they run, a lot of the mixed development, the integrated developments that they do, it's very well run. When you go into a mall, you see very, very known shops, stores, supermarkets, food courts, very, very nicely run. And I don't think it's going to be any different as far as reserve residence is concerned. But my question here is it obviously didn't happen overnight. Over the last couple of years, over the last 10 years, the last 20 years, they have done something right, and to get to where it is today. So they're one of the largest operators in malls. So what do you have to say about Far East? Have they grown in the last 20 years?
I see. Okay. First of all, I'd like to put a point here is Far East has got a much longer history than I can share. But I can share, my observation.
Only from your personal point.
Yeah. For Far East. Now, Far East itself, first of all, is when I was with them back in 2004, up to a good number of years later, when I was really an agent, I think Far East undoubtedly, during that era, even up to the 2010, 2012 kind of period, they are one of the leading developers in Singapore with a lot of projects. At one point, in Singapore, every 6 developer units that are launched in the market, one of them is actually a Far East project.
Wow.
Okay, that was the kind of volume that we're talking about. But of course, I think if I'm not wrong, from 2013, 2014, they actually took quite a hiatus from the market, and also they actually lie low for a long time. until the more of the recent developments that they have. We talk about Park Suites, we talk about the One Holland Village residences, and of course the most recent would be the Reserve residences. Right. So what I see in these 20 years, the change over here is first of all, I have to put across is Far East all along. In my opinion, is that they have always been a forerunner in terms of ideas. Okay, like for example, when we talk about Soho, I think Soho-wise, they are probably the first to actually launch in the market.
Right.
All right, and also studio, like
what exactly is a Soho?
Soho, they are we talk about this small office, home office. So basically, they are like offices whereby you can make it like a home. It's like you integrate the staying in and the working into the same compound. Right. So you have the Soho at Central, and then something like Icon. I think when Icon first launched, it was something very new to a lot of buyers in the market as well.
Right.
Yeah. So and design-wise, like Sunken Bath, last time when they had all those, they were unseen before they launched. Yeah. So these are actually a lot. Very fresh ideas that came from Far East in the past. Yeah. If let's say we're talking about the transforming into the current Far East, I think right now what we can see is they place a lot of focus on mixed or integrated developments. Like what you mentioned, right? We see One Holland Village, we see the Reserve residences. So yes, I think they actually bump up in terms of their or rather they are always trying to improve on their mall management.
Yeah. Not only in the mall management, but also in the construction, the design, the architectural design, the livability of a home. I recently did a viewing and I saw a particular Far East project from the 90s, and at that time the design was quite revolutionary. It was a cluster home that it did, and then I went in and I was like, oh wow, it had Roman columns in the front. I'm like, oh wow. I mean, it was a thing then, but not anymore. But you can see the design was clever, and the materials that they used were also quite clever, and some of it lasted and stood the test of time. And they were also, I think, at the end of the day, so they were quite daring in trying new things.
Yes, these I totally agree.
And I think what they're doing with Reserve residents also basically it's pretty exciting to want to see how Reserve residents were to come up. I mean, it's going to transform the entire area. Yeah. There is nothing around Upper Bukit Timah, and when Reserve residents comes up, the mall there, the train station, the bus terminus there, it's going to be a hive of activity. And I honestly, cannot think of a better developer to run that project, from where I'm seeing. So yeah, I know we have as real estate agents, we have a bit of a love and hate relationship with Far East because some agents, because of the comms, so it's not as attractive sometimes to agents. But as far as the mall management, as far as livability, they're partnered. They're really, really good at what they do.
I see.
Yeah. And then you were also the IC for that, right?
Yeah.
First weekend sold 60% if I'm not wrong.
First weekend, wow, I need to punch my calculator. Okay, maybe just to give some rough numbers. I think slightly over 490 units were sold out of about 550 units launched.
Holy crap! So
yeah, we didn't launch all 732 units at one go. Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, pardon me if I got my numbers incorrect, but it won't be too far.
It was a very successful launch.
Yeah, it was like I remember the unit sold was more like between 470 and 490 plus minus.
The very exciting thing is now Hillhaven that will be launched next month. Yes. I think the target launch date will be January the 20th. The preview date for us agents are going to see will be January the 6th.
On the 6th, yes.
Correctly, and so it's pretty exciting because it's not too far away from Reserve residents, Hillview.
Right.
the area. It's going to be the first project in Hillview for a long time. There hasn't been a new project there for a very long time. And this project, Hillhaven, is going to be 140 meters away from the MRT station, correct?
Okay. Yes, this is gonna be okay. This one. Let me just. Okay, from what I know is, first of all, if we talk about the distance of Hillhaven to the reserve, for example, or the Beauty World precinct, is just a mere like a 6 minutes drive away. Right, so it's a very quick drive away. On top of that, if you talk about the distance to the MRT, Hillview MRT with the closest station, is about 350 meters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's about, I walked myself before, I tested the ground. It took me about less than 4 minutes. Yep, to walk from.
You're young, so you can walk faster. So. From where I'm standing.
Maybe yes. Add another minute. I think you should find it very comfortable.
Thank you.
Still.
1 minute. Kind of add an extra 15 seconds, yeah. It's okay. It's okay. I'm bored. So tell me about Hillhaven. What are the good selling points of Hillhaven, and what should folks look out for?
Okay, I think for Hillhaven itself, first and foremost, is that we understand that in the Hillview precinct, right, we don't have a lot of new launches, coming up in the next 1 year. All right. In fact, around there, the last project that was launched was next door, which is Midwood. Right. That was quite a few years ago, and so now Hillhaven is coming up. I think one of the key advantage of Hillhaven against a lot of the other developments over there is Hillview as itself is largely covered by 10-story developments. All right. So if you talk about high rise in that location, there are only a total of that 6 projects over the whole Hillview precinct, and Hillhaven is one of them. And the location and the position of Hillhaven is really very strategically, I'll say it's really very well positioned. Why in that sense is because if you are to compare with other high rises, Hillhaven is one whereby if you look into the east and the south, all right, it's totally unblocked view.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I think for anyone who buys into Hillview, this is very important because basing on what we understand, Hillview is not one location whereby people come here to buy for their primary school or to buy for big transformation, because around there what people love is actually the nature element, which is wrapping around the whole Hillview. We have the nature reserves and the nature parks, and the surrounding vicinity. So what people are buying for,
when you go to the Hillview area, especially in the evenings, there are a ton of people walking around.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it's a very cozy neighborhood. So people love walking their dogs, they love taking long walks.
Yes.
The lifestyle there is pretty amazing, I gotta say.
Yeah, correct. I mean, this is one where I can really use the word enclave. There's not many places in Singapore where I can call them enclave.
Yeah.
But Hillview is definitely one. There is staying by itself, as in it's all private. You don't mix with heartlanders. I'm not saying that is something no good, but just saying that over there is people like that kind of
community, kampong spirit.
Yes, yes.
It's like a small little kampong, but the condo version.
Yes, yes, correct. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. So if they had put a gun to you right now and say Hillhaven or reserve residence, if you had to pick one,
you are making things very difficult for me.
I know it's a very unfair thing, but most people will be looking at it and say, hey, both are Far East projects and both are fairly nearby.
Yeah.
So the question here is, there will be comparisons, undoubtedly, and because you're the IC for both, I know it's an impossible choice. It's like asking you, which one do you prefer, your first born or your second born? An impossible question. It's not an easy question to ask, but in case you had to answer, which one do you prefer, your first one or your second
Okay,
one?
my have to be a long answer, not a short one. If I have to give an answer on this,
Personal preference, just personal preference.
I have to check my bank account.
That's a good
Of
one.
course, if I can stretch, my first choice will definitely be the reserve. All right, but of course, having said that, reserve, it comes with in terms of amenities. I'll say the design, everything is very different, from Hillhaven. But apart from that, we also have to bear in mind is that it bears more large size units,
Right.
larger size. All right. Over there, if let's say we talk about 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms over there, we can be running in a range of like 1,003 square feet, up to a range of almost 1,000, like 1,006, 1,009 square feet, for the 4 bedrooms.
Would I be wrong to say that because of your age and because your children are still fairly young, reserve residence would make a little bit more sense for you? You would be able to have a bit more of a family. Your kids, you take them downstairs, settle all the stuff.
Yes.
Transportation will be easier for them, especially when they go to school, go out, and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Hillhaven may be a little bit more palatable, maybe in 10 years, 15 years for you. Would I be wrong to say that?
Yes, Hillhaven, I will say, I think Hillhaven, if let's say for someone who is, buying their first home,
Right.
or their first upgrade, from their current BTO, from their current HDB, I think Hillhaven makes a very good choice.
Right.
Yep. If let's say you are looking to at the market in not a very far, but probably in the next 12 months or so, what are the choices and options that are in the market? I think Hillhaven is one whereby it's well positioned. It's very close to Beauty World. It's very close to a lot of tertiary compounds, right?
Yeah.
The educations, and at the same time around there, you are talking about living in one environment where I can really, enjoy the tranquility.
Yeah.
The views are really beautiful. I can stomp on this because last time I used to market Hillview Regency. I saw the views myself. Anything that looks into the south and the east,
Wow.
right? East, no matter north, east or south east, the views are just beautiful. Yeah, especially in the mornings, you can even see a bit of a fog, that mist.
And we also have some drone views from of where the site is going to be for Hillhaven, right? So we'll know what it looks like. Would I be wrong to say that?
Okay, for drone views, we have yet to receive it from developer yet.
Are we going to have it?
I can't be too sure because around there we are very, very close to MINDEF protection zone.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
you can't fly it, yeah.
Yeah, but because
our
our
is just nearby. Right?
yeah, because our southern view, our southern facing units are all, it doesn't come
And
with
there's
any
a ton
visual
of
control.
camps over there as well. All the camps, yeah. And you were right about the university as well, the tertiary education. SIM is there, Nian is there,
Yes.
and it's a stone's throw away from NUS. So going to these tertiary education will be fairly easy. Nanyang Girls won't be too far off Hwa Chong. So there's a lot of good schools around. I don't think Nanyang will probably fall in the 1 kilometer. I don't know how many kilometers, but it's not too far.
Correct.
So there's a ton of good schools around the area as well.
Right.
Wow. It's actually quite a very livable place. I have a really good friend that lives there, so I kind of know.
Yes. Now, so just to get back to the question just now between my firstborn and secondborn.
I was trying to say, you just don't let you answer that.
Okay. Now, Hillhaven, what Hillhaven offers in terms of design-wise, to me, other than the surrounding and the views, being high-rise, I think the layouts are very, very efficient. Yep. So we can deliver a 4-bedroom from under 1,003 square feet, or if let's say you like to have a bit more space, we have one that is up to slightly under 1,004 square feet.
Okay.
Yeah, and the 2 bedrooms over here, if you look at the layout, 2 bed 2 baths at about 700 square feet. It comes with enclosable tuck-in kitchen. These are kind of layout whereby in the market a lot of people actually they crave for this kind of layout because it's very, very usable and the livability is very good. Yeah. Yep. No space are wasted.
As far as I would expect nothing less from them. They've had so many years of buildings,
Yes.
so the rooms will probably be quite nicely designed as far as the fluidity of the movement,
Right.
especially for non-wasted space, I would assume. So, and the room designs the drawings are already out, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Jaden's launch, 80% launch, and I mean, technically speaking, it's not too far away. From Hillview to Jaden, it's not that far away.
Right.
So how will Hillhaven be in comparison to Jaden? The reason why I'm asking you to compare this is because Singaporeans love to compare. Everything also want to compare.
Correct.
But so everybody's eyes will be peeled on this. The Jaden was oversubscribed 4-1. There were 1,400 checks for 400 places, apartments, so to speak. So it was oversubscribed, 3 to 4-1. So everybody would be asking, how is this going to compare to that? And the ones that missed out Jaden may also spill over to Hillhaven. That would be my guess. What do you think of that?
Yes. Okay. I will put it this way: I think Jaden is one development whereby it is reliving that transformation of the Jurong East location, right?
Okay.
First of all, we talk about the Jurong Gateway, and then of course what's coming up is the plans for the Jurong Lake District. I think these two plans, is covering that whole area very well, and of course with as we know, there are actually right now there's these 3 plots of land as one project is actually on the market, that is on tender, right? So all these are actually very timely, right? That people are looking forward to the transformation in that location, in the Jurong location. Now, I think that actually adds a lot of value to properties in the whole West region. Now, we don't just talk about Jurong, but as a whole West region, if let's say Jurong is set to become so-called the largest business district.
The second CBD in Singapore.
Yes, that's how some will coin it.
Yeah.
Out of our CBD, then of course that will actually add a lot of value enhancement, right, to the properties in the West. Not to forget, in the West, this is not the only transformation that we're seeing, right? We're also looking into the JID, right, the Jurong Innovation. We're also looking into the
JLD as well.
Yeah, and of course
JID,
JLD, JID, correct. And of course the Tuas Megaport. So I put it this way: is in the West, there are over the next at least 2 decades.
Right.
A few decades, right, we are going to see massive changes, right?
Yeah.
And these are master planned. So these are not like one developer come out and to say we are going to build this and that's it. No.
This is going to happen.
Yeah, this is going to happen because it's pushed by our government. I think the second thing is. In my opinion, is also very important. Is also about the MRT lines that are coming up.
Right.
And that one is more immediate. Because over there we are looking in the West Zone, right? There's going to be new Jurong regional line. That one will be completed around 2028, and then there's also a cross island line that will actually reach Jurong Lake District in 2032.
So how far will Hillhaven be in terms of MRT stops to JID? Do you happen to know? Drive-wise and number of stops?
Okay, as far as I know, it's not so connected in a sense. Is that if let's say
because of the enclave of where
okay. So if you are going to use the MRT stations to do the connection, Hillview Station, just 3 stops down will be King Albert Park. King Albert Park, you can in future change onto the Cross Island line into JLD.
So it's not as the crow flies or as the MRT that there's a direct link, but you probably have to swap lines.
Okay, correct. Have to swap lines. Another further
but
change.
As the crow flies is actually quite near. I mean, as the crow flies is in a straight line if you draw it on the map.
Oh, you mean on a
the straight line if you
based
draw
on
it
driving?
crow don't need to drive. Sorry, it's an American term. So
I'm so sorry, I didn't catch that. Yeah.
so when you say as the crow flies, it means like when a crow is flying, right? It doesn't take into consideration traffic, the roads. It just flies directly straight line.
You mean linear distance?
Yeah, I mean
Just
geographic distance.
Point to point.
Yeah, point to point.
Oh,
so
I
it's
see.
not very far. That's what I mean.
It's not very far. Yes.
Yeah, so it's actually quite near.
Correct.
So it gives you a context of how to get from Hillhaven to JID, JLD. JLD might be, it's like I'm super impressed with JLD. Super impressed with JLD and JID with all the stuff coming out. The Hyundai's is it Mega Center or what do you call it? Oh my goodness, it's amazing. I'm trying to get myself on the list to go and visit it lah. So super impressed with what's happening. I mean, as a person who studied in NTU, and I've seen the transformation of what Jurong was, and then to see where it is today, I'm like, psh. As a young kid, I used to go to Jurong Lake District and Jurong Lake and Fishma, and it was a pain in the ass to just get there. I mean, you have to take don't know how many buses to get there, and then by the time you reach there, you have to. It was a long. It was a whole day just to go there and come back. And if you want to do any fishing, you had to also be mindful of catching the last bus out. So what I see with JLD, it's unfreaking believable, and what they're doing with Chinese garden and what they're doing with Japanese garden and how they're building the parkour park, the outdoor gyms, it's unfreaking believable. So I'm just blown away, and the ports hasn't even fully moved to the Tuas Mega Port yet. So we're seeing a huge revival of the West.
Yes.
The West is no longer wild. It's going to be really in the forefront of Singapore. It's going to have so much business there. It's ridiculous. So jobs will be there. All the educational, the massive ones are all there. NUS, NTU, all basically in the West. So yeah. Unfortunately, I live in the East, so I'm glad. I'm glad it's all happening there. I would call it the second Punggol actually, but actually it's a much bigger version of what Punggol is.
Yes.
So as far as investment is concerned, I mean, how would Hillhaven fare? According to the region's growth, how do you think it will fare? I mean, just I won't hold a gun to you again. Make a wild guess.
Now, I think first of all is if we talk about in the West region, for anyone who wants to upgrade into the private residential, the choices are not too many. All right, because when we talk about in the West, Hillview will stand out as one prominent spot because it's actually one enclave whereby it's really all private residential. Then probably we have some other choices like Clementi. There's also some private resi, coming up.
Yeah,
over the last decade or so. All right, and of course the other choice probably we'll be looking at is Jurong itself. Now Jurong by itself, we don't see many private residential except for some which is very close to Lakeside. All right, Jurong East itself we saw. Yeah, correct. And then if let's say we talk about Jurong East, I believe more will come up, but as of now we are just talking about G Gateway and Jayden being the next, but that one is take a few years to complete.
Right.
Yeah. So if given all these choices, Hillhaven will stand out in a sense, from an investment point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And then if let's say we talk about Jurong East, I believe more will come up, but as of now we are just talking about G Gateway and Jayden being the next, but that one is take a few years to complete.
Right.
Yeah. So if given all these choices, Hillhaven will stand out in a sense, from an investment point of view. We're talking about the transformations and the new MRT that are coming up in the West. So
and you said Hillhaven will be well positioned because of where it is.
Yes.
Yeah, in
yes.
Jurong East.
Correct.
Yeah. Can you elaborate more?
Yeah, because you see the point is if we're going to expect asset enhancement in a lot of the flats over there, then of course this will actually form the base support of the upgraders into the West region. So in that sense, that allow people to have more budget when they upgrade into the private residential, and in that sense Hillhaven being in Hillview and one of the very rare developments that offer very nice open views, of the surrounding, definitely will stand to gain.
What are the exciting facilities that is going to be at Hillhaven? Amenities, ma?
I see. Okay. Of course, Hillhaven will come complete with their facilities
usual,
like 2
swimming
clubhouses.
pool,
Yeah,
okay.
and I think I really like the design whereby they have all the curvilinear facilities, whereby the pools are not the regular shaped kind, and it gives people the kind of vibes and space to really feel relaxed, while at their home, at their very own facility area. Yep, they have the gym. They have, of course, down here we have something a bit different. Is we do have one dedicated space for the bikers to clean up their bikes. Yep.
Right, and of course, the outside facilities would be like Bukit, Bukit Timah's Reserve. We've got the Bukit Batuk's, that little Xiao Guiling, right?
Yes.
It's all nearby.
I think around there, yes. On the left flank, right flank. Left flank wise, we are talking about the Bukit Batuk now town park,
right,
where Xiao Guiling is.
Right.
And if on the right flank, our walk to MRT is roughly about 4 minutes, and around there, it's actually integrated with the rail corridor.
Okay.
Yeah.
The rail corridor. That's huge. That's a big project.
Correct. And you're just a short walk to the Hillview Truss Bridge. There's only 2 such bridges.
Oh wow.
Yeah, one in Bukit Timah and one.
Oh yes. The rail corridor. It's going to be a huge gateway just to get onto the rail, the rail corridor, and the government is putting a shit ton of money into building out their project.
Yeah. Correct.
Oh wow.
Correct.
Didn't think about that. Okay, now the super difficult question that for the next 3 minutes, I'm sure when you talk, I won't understand too many things you say.
Really?
Price.
Price.
Do the price comparison. Do that thing you did with me just now. Compare with some of the other projects around.
Yeah. Okay, I think from a pricing perspective,
where is Hillhaven going to rank, and how would they compare?
Okay, first of all, is that there are no indicatives being released yet. All right, so comparisons-wise, if we are going to look at the upcoming launches that are comparable, that people may want to compare in the next 12 months, there's one in Bukit Timah Link. All right, that one is actually by Bukit Sembawang. Right, the plot of land was actually tendered and sold on the same day as Hillhaven.
Wow.
Right, so that plot of land was done at 1343 per square foot PPR. More recently, we have like Clementi. Clementi, there's also one plot there, Avenue 1. That land was done at 1250 PPR. And then if let's say you don't mind, as in for some they may actually consider more towards the Pine Grove, further from MRT, but that one was done at also 1002 plus. Right, so if let's say given all this comparison,
and Hillhaven was done at?
No, Hillhaven is done at 1024. Alright, so the comparison is quite stark because you're talking about easily in the range of like 20-30%, yes, on the land price itself, on the land cost. And another comparison is of course on the Champions Way. Champions Way is in Woodlands. Now if let's say I'm going to use a ruler to draw the distance from Woodlands to town, you'll notice that the expected launching price of Champions Way and Hillhaven, likely the gap will be rather small. And for this very small gap, they basically, Hillhaven kind of like cut half the distance. All right, so that's a big upgrade for a very small premium. Yes. If let's say we're going to set the next few milestones, from Hillhaven to, for example, if we talk about Beauty World, Reserve Residences is doing another 500 per square foot on average on the selling price.
So it's more $500 more expensive. Chances are.
Yes.
That's what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
Correct. And then, of course, if you are going to talk about somewhere even nearer to town like Watton, recently they are doing another $700 per square foot above Reserve. Yeah. So all this is as you move nearer
to town,
for very small distances, you pay a lot more.
Right.
Yeah. So Hillhaven is positioned. I'll put it this way: is in terms of value pricing perspective, the demand is strong. I mean, for upgraders.
So even though we don't know what the prices are, but we are postulating that when we compare Hillhaven to Champions Way, you pay a little bit more, marginally more, but you get 50% distance closer to town.
Yes.
And if you were to compare the price-wise, you're going to pay $500 more for reserve residence for an extra
6 minutes drive.
Yeah, 6 minutes drive just to get to reserve from Hillview. So that's a significant amount of money, especially when you add it to per square foot.
Yes.
And we were also postulating that when compared to Wharton House, it's probably going to be $1,200 more expensive than this ballpark again, and your distance is going to be not 10 minutes difference.
Yeah.
So comparatively, if you were to compare with Champions Way, it's you're cutting down a significant amount of distance, but for very little marginal price difference or to be a little bit more. That's what I would say.
Yes.
Okay. So we will 拭目以待 because the prices will come out. I think first week of January, and by then we'll have more information.
Yes. I mean, we are hoping that the indicative prices can be released earlier. So yep. That's all. Look forward to that.
Okay. Well, thanks again for all of it. I have one last question. So the last question would be Hillhaven. The USP for Hillhaven, 总结 a little bit, just summarize it a little bit one more time. I believe it's 4 or 5 different points, but just go one time on target. Why would people should consider buying Hillhaven?
Okay, Ken. In summary, I'll put it this way, is that the first thing is people who come to Hillview, all right, whether upgraders or for some, they may be staying here, as their retirement home. I think we have to understand that what people are looking out for in Hillview as a location, first of all, is to live in tranquility. And near enough to amenities, all right, and of course, very importantly is the views, because around there is actually wrapped around by a lot of parks and nature reserves. All right, so given all this, Hillhaven is positioned in such a way because we have on our south and our east side really unblocked views. Yep, we have the school and CC next to us, and further out beyond there are all the landed or the 10-story developments. And given that we have up to 27 stories and 28 stories towers, so we do have that provision for open panoramic view, for this location per se. So that's one. Now, secondly is talking about conveniences. We are just like 1 minute away from the HV2. All right, there's cool storage. There's quite a string of eateries around there. And of course, for anyone who wants a little bit of other stuff, they can walk a little bit further down. To the MRT is about 4 minutes.
Right.
And if you cross to the other side of the road from the MRT station, right, they have the Real Mall. And as through the video we've been mentioning again and again, we are just 6 minutes drive to Beauty World, which I think there's plenty of other options, and choices over there. Right. So other than all this, of course, we're also looking forward to the Western transformation. All right, the major transformation we talk about, the JLD, the JID, and of course the Tuas Megaport. So all these things coming up, along with the new MRT lines coming up, by 2028 for the regional line, and 2032 for the Cross Island line. I believe, in the next 10 years or so, it will be very exciting to see the asset enhancement, the value enhancement of the properties in the West. And with that actually gives a very strong support for the upgraders, to move into the private residential. And I will see this as one of a key reason, all right, to see a high potential growth, for anything that's in the west. And if let's say we talk about the choices in the west, Hillhaven is located in Hillview, and Hillview is one very prominent private enclave that people will definitely consider, right? And of course, if we talk about the price perspective, comparing with some of the upcoming launches in the next 12 months or so, I think we can expect to see launches in Bukit Timah Link, which is in Beauty World Precinct. That one, as mentioned, the land price is about 31% higher than Hillhaven, which is only like 6 minutes drive away. And then we also look at like Clementi, which was done at 1,250 per square foot PPR, right? So by the time they launch, I think expectedly we should be looking anywhere in the range of about close to 2.4 on an average basis, right? And of course, we also have Pine Grove, Parcel B. Right. So that one, the price should be very close to the Parcel A, right? And just to give another perspective is Champions Way in Woodlands will also be launching within the next 12 months. And if let's say given the price difference, over there is doing at 904 as compared to Hillhaven, our land price is 1024. You notice that for a very small gap, right, they can cut the distance, half the distance from Woodlands to town area. All right, so I think this is something which for a lot of upgraders, that is very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like a lot lesser commuting time, but they just pay a small premium on that.
And it's a great place to live as well, like you said.
Yes.
It's a huge enclave.
Correct.
And you don't have to worry about going back to Woodlands and getting caught in the traffic during long weekends when everybody's trying to get to Malaysia.
Yeah, I think just a small disclaimer here is I think Woodlands have its own appeal. All right, for some whereby maybe for American school, or for some maybe they have their own factories or their own workplace nearer to the Woodlands site. Yeah, so they will definitely have their own crowd. But for upgraders whereby they are they aspire to move closer to town, right. This is where we're coming in. Yes.
Yeah. There are people who love who swear by Woodlands. So
yeah,
I got
correct.
a friend who's lived there for 30 years and he refused to move. Good for you.
Yeah. There's always
And the next one would be, last but not least, I think it would be because of the developer and the developer being Far East. They would have a pretty good grasp on the designs, the manufacturing of the building of the project. So that would be another unique, very, very strong selling point.
Yes. Now, to me, is I think one of the key difference in terms of such leading developer is the engagement of architects. Be the main architect and the landscape architect. They are all the reputable architect, right? In fact, this time around, if you look at Hillhaven itself, Far East actually engaged Arc Studio. Oh. Right, so Arc Studio is actually a President Design Award winner.
Right.
Maybe some of you may not know, right? The most million churning HDB in Singapore, which is called the Pinnacle at Duxton, was designed by Arc Studio. Oh. Right, so that's one, and of course the other development that that created a lot of buzz was the Tembusu, which was by Wing Tai.
Right.
Yeah. So it's also by Arc Studio. Okay. Now Tinderbox is by and large they have done landscaping for a lot of large developers before. Right. So just to name a few, like Seaside Residences or Avenir, these are some of the massive, very prominent developments that landscape were actually designed and done by them. Yes.
Bro, you really know your projects, man.
I have to.
I have to. Your 20 years show, really seriously show. Nicely done.
No. I'm still learning every day,
Very nice.
From a lot of experts,
Okay, I guess all of us will be really looking forward to Hillhaven and the launch of it next month. And then when it comes out, we will expect to see some pretty exciting stuff coming in, as far as that's concerned. So thanks again for popping by. Let's go grab some kopi.
Thanks for having me here, Charlie. Thank you.
Thanks, man.